the Nintendo Wii. Originally released in 2006, this motion-controlled enabled console was soon infiltrating living rooms the world over. Suddenly, grannies were playing video games. Wiimotes were being flung through brand new TV screens, and mums were queuing for hours to get hold of a bloody balance board. The identity of gaming was changed forever. Everyone was dancing, and Nintendo was drowning in money. Depending on your outlook, the Wii represents either a huge step forward for gaming in the public eye, or a sidestep into the realms of cheap fads, game-ruining motion controls, and endless shovelware. Either way, most Wiis nowadays are packed under beds or in attics, but if yours is still on display, the likelihood it's used for Mario Kart Wii, Super Mario Galaxy, or something else with Mario in it. We're not interested in those today though. Even No More Heroes and Zack and Wiki are too mainstream for us. We're delving deep into the pit of Wii obscurity to try and find some gems that rarely see the light of day. Wow, there really are a lot of games to dig through down here. I'm gonna need a bigger shovel. I'm Ashton from Triple Jump, and here are 10 hidden gems for the Nintendo Wii. Number 10, Centipede Infestation. The bugs are invading our first hidden gem. Created by Shantae developers WayForward, Centipede Infestation reimagines the world created by the original Centipede in 1981. In the original arcade hit, the aim of the game was to blast a centipede that was advancing through a field of mushrooms. As segments of the centipede are hit, it would split up and move faster, steadily advancing on our bug-blasting protagonist. Centipede Infestation keeps the same idea, and even hangs on to the mushrooms, but adds tower defense elements and applies 3D graphics to the whole thing. Like the Wii port of Geometry Wars, players can either use the nunchuck to move and the remote to aim, or can plug in a classic controller and play it like a stick shooter. The game also has various weapon options and even a co-op mode, so you don't have to face the giant bugs alone. Centipede Infestation even adds a plot to the classic formula. It tells the story of a world devastated by war and beset by giant mutant insects, where a young man named Max the Bug Slayer and a gardener named Macy Chambers are attempting to heal the world by planting seeds. It's always nice to add meaning to frenzied insect annihilation. Number 9, Koro-Rimpa. Koro-Rimpa, known as Koro-Rimpa Marble Mania in America, was a launch game for the Wii in Japan, but failed to match the likes of The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess or Red Steel in sales. Still, those who did pick up on the marble rolling curio were sure to be won over by its jaunty tunes and charming visual style. The object of Koro-Rimpa is to roll marbles towards the goal, tilting the levels with the Wii remote in gameplay that's quite reminiscent of Sega's Monkey Ball series. Incidentally, Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz was also in the Wii's launch lineup, which couldn't have helped Koro-Rimpa's cause much, considering it was up against an established franchise with very similar gameplay. After all, who would choose a plain old ball when you can choose a ball with a monkey in it? The Japanese and European cover for Koro-Rimpa was super adorable, with a handmade feel and some delightfully round animals given centre stage. The American cover, by contrast, was super generic, but at least it got the whole marble thing across more clearly. The sequel, Marble Saga Koro-Rimpa, added a plot to the marble-based action that concerned an ant named Anthony on a quest for a golden sunflower. It also added marble customization. I wonder if you could put a monkey in it. Number 8, The Skycrawlers, Innocent Aces. Based on a 2008 Japanese animated war film, The Skycrawlers Innocent Aces depicts air combat in a world where groups of ace fighter pilots take part in battles on behalf of private corporations. The film was a cult classic among animation fans and scooped up quite a few awards at various fancy pants film festivals around the world. The developers, Project Aces and Access Games, decided it was ripe for a video game adaptation. Releasing for the Wii in 2008, The Skycrawlers Innocent Aces had plenty of airborne competition. Blazing Angels, Heatseeker, and Tom Clancy's Hawks 2 all offered safer, more traditional piloting experiences for flight fans to consider, but the Skycrawlers Innocent Aces beat them on quality. The game takes visual inspiration from the movie to create a very aesthetically pleasing experience, allowing players to lose themselves in the open sky, taking part in intense dogfights, and feeling like a cool anime pilot the entire time. It also tried an interesting control method, where the nunchuck was held in the dominant hand like a flight stick, and the Wiimote was treated as a throttle lever. Don't worry though, if even the thought of all that non-standard controller trickery gets you in a nosedive, you can just stick a pad in and play it like any other shooter. Number 7, Maya Masa, the Demon Blade. If a game is seen as the quintessential hidden gem on a platform, then is it really a hidden gem? Such existential questions are beyond me, but we're putting Maya Masa the Demon Blade on our list anyway because it looks so pretty. Coming from Vanillaware, the developers responsible for the likes of Odin's Sphere and Dragon's Crown, Maya Masa the Demon Blade takes us to ancient Japan, and a world filled with creatures and figures of folklore. Players step into the shoes of a princess named Momohime and a runaway ninja named Kiska, and they quest to bring peace to the land. An action RPG draped in Vanillaware's signature gorgeous art style, Maya Masa the Demon Blade was rightly praised for its great music, gripping combat, and stunning visuals, and won many fans with its story and characters, but never became more than a shiny curio for especially adventurous Wii owners to try. Like any of the gems on our hidden gems list, it did have its flaws, with a fair bit of backtracking being highlighted as something that would put off potential buyers. Still, when everything looks this good, do you really mind going back over the same places over and over? Well, yes, because of modern gamers who demand constant stimulation, but give Maya Masa Demon Blade a try anyway, yeah? Number 6, Fast Racing League. Fast Racing League is a German-developed WiiWare title that bears more than a passing resemblance to Wipeout and F-Zero, but offers its own phase-shifting spin on that very specific, super-quick futuristic racing and levitating wedge-shaped vehicles genre. In the game, players take on the role of a pilot in the titular Fast Racing League, and compete in tournaments in such locations as Shima, Siberia and Sunohara, jostling for pole position with opposing racers and skimming over boost pads. So far, so Wipeout, but the aforementioned unique spin comes in the form of a phase-shifting mechanic, where pilots shift their vehicles between light and dark phases to interact with the boost pads laid out around the track. Activate the correct phase as you hit the corresponding pad, and you'll gain some speed or launch yourself into the air. But time it wrong, and your progress will grind to an undignified halt. This phase shifting adds a layer of strategy to breakneck racing, and gives players plenty to keep them occupied across multiple racing classes. Unfortunately, even though the Fast in Fast Racing League is stylized in capital letters, it doesn't appear to actually stand for anything. We'd have gone with floaty automobile speedy time. Yeah, that works. Number 5, Disaster, Day of Crisis. This varied and set-piece-filled adventure game has quite the tumultuous past. Created by Monolith Soft, Disaster Day of Crisis was only released in Europe and Japan, and gained quite a cult following despite its low sales. It depicted a world in crisis, hit by multiple natural disasters and destabilized by a rogue military organization known as Surge. Players step into the shoes of Ray, a former rescue worker haunted by past tragedies, and must traverse dangerous environments, rescuing civilians and fighting off Surge soldiers who are making matters worse. Gameplay switches between driving, climbing, light gun-style rail shooter sections, and more as the adventure progresses. In fact, Disaster Day of Crisis featured so many different gameplay approaches that some critics claimed it was scatterbrained and unfocused, despite many players being won over by the eclectic mix of styles. The game never made it to the US due to its low number of sales in other territories. Also, former Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé apparently didn't like it very much, and was reported to have called it laughable and overpriced. I hope that the Monolith Soft team, since responsible for the mightily successful Xenoblade Chronicles series, now give him smug looks whenever they see him at parties. Number 4, Blastworks, Build, Trade, Destroy. It's time to take to the air once again, but this time we're viewing things in the side-on 2D. All of the aeroplanes appear to be made of wood, and you can effortlessly attach downed enemy crafts to your own, eventually forming a vast, bullet-spewing flying fortress of doom. It's a unique concept that makes for a fascinating experience. In Blastworks, Build, Trade, Destroy, or Build, Fuse and Destroy if you want to get needless European name change about this, once something sticks to your craft, it'll stay there and keep firing. Soon enough, you'll find yourself controlling an ungodly contraption that's blistering with weaponry pointed in all directions. Laugh as you unleash bullet hell upon your helpless foes, themselves destined to become just another part in your unstoppable death machine. That is until all your bits get shot off and you find yourself being a little bit vulnerable. Blastworks also comes with some hefty editing tools, allowing players to build their own aircraft, bosses, and levels. It's a side-scrolling shooter with a unique spin and loads of customization, and it deserves more plaudits than it ever received. Just try not to think too much about the science of aerodynamics while you're piloting a flying mass of bits. Number 3, The Core Gang, Outvasion from Inner Earth. Released in 2010, the Core Gang Outvasion from Inner Earth was originally intended to be exclusive to Xbox, but 10 years of development hell and multiple publisher changes later, it eventually found its home on the Wii. In the Core Gang, not to be confused with Kool and the Gang, players switch between controlling 3 protagonists: Pixie, the girl, Mad Boy, the boy, and Rex, the dog. Each character has various robo-suit abilities that affect combat and progression, resulting in some enjoyable and varied gameplay in the same basic style as Banjo-Kazooie and Spyro. While reviews at the time were mixed, the game was compared favourably to contemporary Wii platformers, and critics and consumers alike were won over by its humour and art direction. Some did get a bit ticked off with the camera controls, but hey, you can't have everything. The odd subtitle comes from the game's wacky story premise, in which a villainous subterranean trio called the Crank Brothers are drilling towards the surface world in an enormous drill fortress known as the Crank Tank. Said tank is large enough to house several communities, and most of the game's action takes place within. It may be literally drilling through the earth, but that tank is anything but boring. Number 2, And Yet It Moves. Alright, listen up. It's time for me to learn you something. And yet it moves is a phrase attributed to Italian philosopher, physicist, and mathematician Galileo. Some say he uttered it upon being forced by the church to recant his claims that the earth moved around the sun. Interesting stuff, but we're a gaming channel, not a philosophy one. Luckily then, And Yet It Moves is also a hidden gem for the Nintendo Wii. Originally released for the PC, the Wii version of And Yet It Moves makes use of the Wii Remote and takes away some control limitations, resulting in an expanded experience. Players control the nameless protagonist as he explores a world made of torn paper, and the aim of the game is to spin the world around, affecting our nameless hero and upending obstacles and enemies as you go. Be careful that your spinning antics don't make him fall into a trap though. You wouldn't want to see him literally torn to shreds, would you? Originally designed as part of a computer science project, And Yet It Moves evolved into one of the foremost indie darlings on the WiiWare platform, and got some high praise from the gaming press. Still, not really sure what it had to do with Galileo being cheeky to the church, though. And number 1, Ellie-Bits. You probably thought the world's electrical supply comes from things like fossil fuels, sun rays, and wind, didn't you? I too once thought that. But the reality, according to Konami's Ellie-Bits, is far more adorable. Known as LEDs, get it? In PAL territories, this unusual take on the FPS genre puts forward the idea that our electricity is generated by tiny electrical beings that like to hide under our sofa and in our sock drawers. In Ellie-Bits, players explore various locations, manipulating objects to uncover the wayward critters and capturing them with a special capture gun. The aim of all this activity is to return the town's power after the blighters scarpered during a thunderstorm, and emotional stakes are added by having the protagonist Kai initially jealous and antagonistic towards the Ellie-Bits. This is thanks to his Ellie-Bit researcher parents spending more time studying tiny electricity men than raising their own son. Relatable. The game even has an edit mode, where you can place furniture and items and then hide the Ellie-Bits yourself. You can then sit back and watch smugly as your companions attempt to locate them. It's an experience you can recreate in real life by hiding family members' phones, wallets, and other precious items around the house. Go on, give it a try.